Hello and welcome back to FL Sports Cars, where today I'm reacting to all the Week 18 scores and also the predictions that I put along with them. I got them on a little script kind of thing underneath the camera, so if you see me looking underneath it, that's what I'm looking at, but let's just get right to it. So the first game that was played on Saturday was the Tampa Bay Bucks playing the Carolina Panthers. I had the Panthers winning this game, but that's not what happened. I thought that Bryce Young was going to play some of his best football because it was a game on the line, and that's just not exactly what he did. What he did do, though, was throw 2 touchdowns and a pick with 266 yards. Their rushing game didn't do an awful lot. Both of the touchdowns, one went to Jalen Coker and one went to Tommy Tremble, and their kicker got them only 2 points. So that was not enough, and the Bucks, Baker got a touchdown and had a pick. Rushing game didn't do an awful lot. The touchdown went to Cade Otton. Mike Evans actually had his first ever non-1,000 yard receiving season on this, but that's all right. I mean, he was injured, but it's just something to keep track of. And Chase McLaughlin kicked them 10 points, which ultimately won them the game. The second game that was played on Saturday was the Seattle Seahawks beating the San Francisco 49ers, and I thought that Brock Purdy was the better quarterback, but apparently I was wrong. Obviously, it's not only Purdy's fault. He only did throw 27 passes. Apparently, Christian McCaffrey couldn't do much of anything either. But, when the only points that you put up is your kicker kicking one field goal against a playoff team, you're not going to win. But just taking a look at the Seahawks now, Sam Darnold had his most Sam Darnold game ever, throwing no touchdowns, but getting some solid yards. Charbonnet got a touchdown, and obviously receiving wasn't great. It was led by JSN, obviously. Drake Thomas picked off Purdy, and Jason Myers kicked them 7 points. And even if they didn't get the touchdown, they would have won because that's just how football is now. It's more of a soccer game than it is a passing game in some of these high-level games. I just hope that the playoffs is better to watch. Now, this game was extremely high-scoring, but not for the reasons you may have, expected. Riley Leonard came in for the Colts. He got 2 touchdowns. He did get picked off, but that's all right. Rushing game, Riley Leonard also had a rushing touchdown, which is really cool to see. Alec Pierce got both of the touchdowns, kind of leaving Josh Downs and Tyler Warren feel a little bit left out. And the Colts kicker only kicked them 12 points. I say only because the Texans kicker kicked them 20. 20 points. He had 6 field goals. And if only he would do this in a fantasy week that mattered, because he would get them so many points. But, CJ Stroud had an all right game, 169 and a touchdown. Davis Mills came in once they kind of had the game bagged. CJ Stroud did also have a rushing touchdown, and the passing touchdown went to Jaden Higgins. I did have the Browns winning this game. This was not the Shedeur Sanders legacy game that everybody wanted, though. He only put up 111 points and no touchdowns. But the reason why this game is significant, other than the 8 points kicked by the Browns kicker, the Bengals handed them all these points. Joe Burrow literally threw a 97-yard pick six on their 3-yard line. That's almost worse than Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl. But another thing, they also had a 47-yard fumble six. This team handed the Browns this win. But also, minor thing in this game was, Myles Garrett getting the sack record, which is kind of a, not as big of a deal as the 97-yard pick six. Obviously, I'm kidding. But Joe Burrow honestly had a great game. It's a shame that he couldn't win this, because if the kicker didn't miss the points, as it seems, if Google would be okay with me here, yeah, if McPherson didn't miss these points, then it would have been tied and they probably would have won. So Money McPherson is no longer Money McPherson. He's just kind of mid at this point. Now, I did guess this game correctly, but this was also the most NFC South game I think I've ever watched. The Falcons win, meaning the Carolina Panthers punch their ticket into the playoffs. Tyler Shuck honestly didn't have a bad game. He should be their guy going into next season, and they really should just build the team around their little mini Drew Brees here. But they got to just build around Shuck in the draft and free agency specifically. But after this win, the Falcons actually cleared house, which is what everybody has been begging them to do. They got rid of their head coach, and they got rid of their GM. So this should start giving Bijan more reps if they get the right guy. Should give Michael Penix the start I mean, I don't even know. Like, I know that he got injured, but I don't know if they trust him enough. I think they should give him another chance under a different head coach and a new GM, but maybe this is the kick that the Falcons needed to really get this team going in the right direction, because ever since 28-3, it's kind of been downhill. I honestly went into this game thinking that the Packers were going to win, but as it turns out, Clayton Tune is not that guy because they also rested Malik Willis, which is a completely understandable move because this dude should be a starter next year. Not Clayton Tune, obviously, I'm talking about Malik Willis. Clayton Tune almost had more rushing yards than passing yards, and he's a quarterback. Receiving for the Packers sucked. Defense got a sack and a fumble recovery, but honestly, that's it. Brandon McManus did kick a field goal, and this dude is just kind of automatic, but it is what it is. They're in the playoffs, and they're going to probably win a couple playoff games. And now on to the Vikings, where J.J. McCarthy put up 182-0. They really did not do much, except for C.J. Ham getting a 1-yard rushing touchdown on his only touch of the day, and Will Reichard kicking them 10 points. So whether or not they got that touchdown or not, they were winning this game, and the Vikings can just sit in Cancun and watch the Packers probably win a couple games. Look, we all knew the Jags were going to win. I thought they were going to start Cam Ward for a little bit, which is why in my prediction I gave them a little bit more points, but Titans didn't do much of anything. Cam Ward got a rushing touchdown, which is pretty cool. But then when you look at the Jags, it's just a seriously good team. I understand it's the Titans. It's like almost like playing the Jets, but 255, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 131.9 QBR. That's just insane. Bashal Tutin got a rushing touchdown on one of the best names I think I've ever seen. Parker Washington got a receiving touchdown, and so did Brenton Strange. Defense picked off somebody once, and Cam Little kicked 11 points, with his longest being a 67-yard field goal. Now, this was not the legacy game that we all wanted out of Jackson Dart, especially against the Cowboys, but Tyrone Tracy, 103 rushing yards, which is absurd. Jackson Dart getting 2 passing touchdowns, couple rushing attempts, but no rushing touchdowns, and Devin Singletary punching in the 1 rushing touchdown on the day. Both of the passing touchdowns thrown by Jackson Dart, one going to Tyrone Tracy and one going to Daniel Bellinger, I think that's how you say it, were pretty decent, and he looks good. The Giants really need to just build their team around him, and he's got to be their guy moving forward, and they have to treat him like it. One last thing, Cowboys suck. This was once again another easy pick. The Rams are playing their starters, and the Cardinals are the 3-14 Cardinals. Matt Stafford realistically took the MVP out of Drake May's hands here with a 4-touchdown game off of 25 attempts, off of 25 completions and 40 attempts, putting up just over 250. Rushing game didn't do a lot. Puka Nacua had an absolutely ridiculous touchdown, with Colby Parkinson getting 2 and Tyler Higbee getting 1. The defense sacked Brissett a handful of times while also getting a forced fumble and a pick. And kicking was led by Harrison Mevis, I don't know how you say that, with 13 points. 13 needed points, but it is what it is, and I don't know why Ethan Evans is here, because he didn't do much of anything. Jacoby Brissett is a good quarterback, but he is not their starter and should not be their starter going into next year. They really need to just get rid of Kyler Murray, trade him to the Jets, get one of those first-round picks in 27, and just maybe do something with this team. Otherwise, they're going to be terrible for the next 5 years. And now we got the Raiders beating the Chiefs in a game that I thought the Raiders were going to just throw away their first overall pick. Obviously, that's not what happened because the Giants did win, but it's never a good game when you're playing Aiden O'Connell because it's Aiden O'Connell. Kenny Pickett got 1 completion for 3 yards and a pick. The Raiders are a terrible team. They're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, and that's really about it. Daniel Carson's a decent kicker, though. He got a 60-yarder and 12 points. Then looking at the Chiefs, I don't even know how to say these guys' names, but the Chiefs are absolutely nothing without Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce's probably not going to be there next year, and honestly, this may have been Travis Kelce's last NFL game, and it's a loss against the Raiders. So honestly, I would not take that. Going into this game, I knew the Eagles were going to put up a fight and lose, but that's just because it's their backups. And when your backups put up 17 points against a genuine NFL team, it's always something. Tanner McKee isn't all that. He's a backup quarterback. Tank Bigsby's really good, actually, in my opinion. And Jake Elliott is still Jake Elliott, and he's still getting points for the team. But now taking a look at the Commanders, Josh Johnson, not that guy. Chris Rodriguez and Josh Johnson actually getting rushing touchdowns, but John Bates got a receiving touchdown, but this team needs Jaden Daniels to perform, and they need him to stay healthy. Otherwise, this is just going to be another RG3 situation. And now for my favorite game of the week, where this was sadly not the legacy game that we all wanted to see out of Drake May, but he still got a passing touchdown. On the other hand, the rushing game was probably the best one that we've ever seen out of the Patriots in recent memory, with 4 rushing touchdowns. The first drive of the game was literally 3 run plays, and we were in the end zone. So, our run game isn't as bad as everyone thought it was going to be, and historically how it has been for the Patriots. I think between the two of Ramondre Stevenson and TreVeyon Henderson, they had 5 touchdowns. So, Drake May is still Drake May. I love him. And Andres Borregales kicking 8 points and missing a field goal, actually, which was not as fun to watch. But taking a look at the Dolphins now, Quinn Ewers, I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. Honestly, they have a $90 million bench warmer on their team, and they're screwed if they do pretty much anything. If they start him, he sucks. If they bench him, he sucks. And if they cut him, he's dead cap. So they're really just cooked for the next 5 years, and there's not much they can do about it. So as it turns out, Jared Goff is still that guy, even after losing to Max Brosmer. And I was dead wrong about him. He put up almost 350 yards, only 1 touchdown though, but that was enough to beat the Bears. And Gibbs getting the receiving touchdown. I'm not concerned about this Bears loss at all, just because they're a playoff team and the Lions aren't. So they definitely weren't trying as hard as they could have been. Caleb having a decent game, actually, putting up 202 with a pick. But the rushing game couldn't do a lot. Colston, Loveland, and Walker getting the touchdowns on the day. And their kicker, Cario Santos, doing actually nothing. But regardless, the Lions end the season on a win and are on the track to do something pretty decent next year. And now we have the Broncos winning the AFC, and there's really not much to say about this game. It was the Chargers backups, and it was the Broncos starters. So just taking a look at the Broncos, Bo Nix, honestly not a great passing game, honestly not a great rushing game, and honestly not a great receiving game. And 13 of these points came from Will Lutz. And I'm not even going to look at the Chargers because they put up a field goal. Now we have the Bills completely dismantling the Jets with their backups. Mitch Trubisky is still that guy. He never left. He was just kind of benched for a little bit. But honestly, that's okay. It's good to know that the Bills have a guy in case the worst case scenario happens for him in Josh Allen going down. But Mitch Trubisky putting up 260 and 4 touchdowns. Ty Johnson getting a rushing touchdown. Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, Ray Davis, and Ty Johnson again, all getting receiving touchdowns. He's doing a Drake May kind of thing and only giving a touchdown to one person at a time. Defense honestly didn't do a lot, but they kind of just shot themselves in the foot because it's literally the Jets. And Matt Prater getting 3 points off of 3 extra points. And we really got to talk about the Jets because they become the first team in NFL history to not get an interception. They are historically terrible, and I genuinely don't think I could be happier about it. New York sports suck. They will suck, and they will always be second to Boston and New England because, they're not called the Boston Patriots. But Jets suck. Giants suck. That's all that I have to say. And now for the greatest Sunday Night Football game I think anybody has ever seen, where Rodgers plays in his last regular season game more likely than not, and it was an absolute wonderful game. Looking at the losing side of the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar had an amazing game. He put up almost 240, 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry putting up 126, not getting a touchdown, though. Zay Flowers having a game-breaking almost touchdown with a 64-yarder. Devontae Walker getting the other receiving touchdown. No picks, no fumbles from the defense, and Tyler Loop kicking 6 points and missing the game-winning field goal right at the end of the game wide right, which was a 44-yarder, and he missed it. And honestly, he's a rookie, and I don't think there's a worse way to end a season. I really do feel bad for him, even though he did blow it, because the Ravens fans are ruthless. We saw that last year with Mark Andrews and what happened with him after he dropped the 2-point. But now, we get to look at the Steelers, where Aaron Rodgers put up almost 300 yards, having an absolute bomb of a touchdown. Jaylen Warren, getting 66 yards. Aaron Rodgers getting 66 yards on the ground, which is what nobody expected. Kenneth Gainwell and Connor Hayward getting the rushing touchdowns, and Calvin Austin getting the passing touchdown from Aaron Rodgers. Now, Chris Boswell kicking 8 points. This game was amazing. If I could play all of the highlights here and not get the video taken down, I would, because nothing that I make ever will be as interesting as the highlights to that game. I urge everybody watching this video to go watch the last 15 minutes of this game. Put on the fourth quarter and just sit, because it's the greatest 15 minutes of football a man can watch. Now, Tyler Loop did blow it at the end. I feel bad for him, but honestly, this could not be a better game to end the regular season with. Now, that will do it for today's video. The next one will probably be a playoffs reaction video. I just got to take a look at the bracket. I honestly don't know it by heart, but thank you again for watching. I have so much fun making these videos, especially the Madden ones and the head-to-head ones, because they're doing really good. I'm honestly shocked at the fact that they're doing really good. They're getting like 10 views when I was expecting 1 or 0. But thanks again for watching, and like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.